What is up, everyone? So, all right, first of all, big ups to everyone who immediately took action on what we talked about last week when we talked about, the whole birthday thing. Do you guys do birthdays? And some of you even got clients already. So I just want to, our win of the week this week, it is for fucking everybody. That's the first time that's ever happened. It'll probably be the last time it's ever happened. But I love to see people taking the best strategies and then implementing them immediately, executing right away, and then getting feedback that's actually really, really positive. Like, that is how you get success. That's how you get the momentum, that spiral that we're all looking for, where everything seems to just be going right and we're just killing it and killing it and killing it. So big ups to everyone on that one. And today I'm going to teach you, actually, a whole presentation prepared today for a very specific skill that is going to allow you to close almost anyone who is closable on a phone call, on a Zoom call, on an in-person session. I don't care if you're fucking 17 years old or you're 77 years old. This is the ultimate skill, in my opinion, and I don't really see anyone talking about it or teaching it, but you've seen me use it a lot, and I'm going to teach you guys how I do it today and how I want you to be using it as well. So let's get started. Okay, so here's the name of this presentation. Actually, let me get my iPad queued up here. By the way, was that a good intro? You guys excited for this now? Was that good? Okay, cool. All right, perfect. So the name of today's presentation is Verbals to Visual. All right, verbals to visual. So what I want to give you to start here is kind of like why. All right, why are we going to talk about verbals to visual? Here's the deal. When you are talking to someone and telling them about your thing or your product or your service, whatever it is that you are selling, you are saying this. In fact, I'm just going to put blah. You're saying blah, 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 blah. Right? It's great for this reason. I'll do this for you. Benefit, solves this problem, you got this problem. Let me agitate that problem. Let me tell you why that's better. Blah, 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 blah. To the other person, the prospect, right, with their ear. That's the ear. With your prospect, you're saying blah, and they hear this. They hear pancakes. Okay? You're saying blah, and they hear pancakes. Here's what I mean. What you are saying, the intention of your message is not what they are hearing. Meaning, in your mind, you're saying the best script ever. Why wouldn't they want to buy this? Because they're not processing it the way that you're putting it out there. Does that make sense? Think about it like this. I'm going to say a word right now. I want every badass in this group right here to let me know in the chat what you thought of after I say this word. All right, so we pull up the chat. I want to see responses as they come in. Okay, so here's the word. Dog. What is the thing you think of when I say dog? Like, in your mind, the picture you see. Tell me what it is. Wow. Okay. I want everyone to look at this chat. This is what I mean when I say fucking pancakes. All right? Like, they should have taught, this is the first thing they taught us in school. They're like, hey, you know when you're talking to someone, you're saying these words, they don't hear that. They hear something completely different. And that's called being a human being. Like, I said dog, and Jeff saw his friend, Ryan saw a husky, Brian saw a Dalmatian, Willie saw a pit bull, Devin saw a brown dog. Zach saw a cat. I said dog. He saw cat. Rhonda saw yellow. I don't even know what that means. She just saw the color yellow. Muhammad said a German Shepherd. Michelle saw a brown dog. Scott saw a friend. Andrew saw a golden retriever with a red collar. Adam just saw a golden retriever. James saw a pit bull. Matt saw Kennedy. Somewhere here. Matt saw my dog. All right? So you're saying, yeah, I'm going to help you. You know, we're going to solve this problem, do this for you. We're going to increase your conversion rate. We're going to give you the love of your life. We're going to make you all this money. You're going to have all these customers. All they're hearing is pancakes and waffles and French toast. They're hearing something totally different. This is going to be a big problem. Why is that a problem? Well, like, if they don't hear your message, how are they going to buy your shit? Right? So if you're like saying all this stuff and they're like, I'm not interested, it's not a good fit or whatever, they're giving you the nice rejection. They're not really rejecting your message. They're rejecting the shit that they heard, which wasn't what you said at all. All right. So it's not necessarily that your rap or your presentation or your words need to change. It is the mechanism through which you are communicating your message. And that's why we're going to go from verbals to visual today. All right. Okay. So let's jump into this. So I have 5 principles for you when I say verbals to visual. And obviously, when I say verbals to visual, I am referring to pictures, drawings specifically. So I have 5 key principles I want to go with you here about why this works, how to do it the best way. All right, so number 1 is demonstration, not presentation. Demonstration, not presentation. So who here has ever been on my Email Income Experts webinar presentation? Right, a lot of you have probably been on that or you've seen that before. If you were to watch the first one that we did, which was our control for like 6 months, you would have seen me do a demonstration on that webinar where I actually logged into my own email account and I sent an email to my own list during the webinar. And then at the end of the webinar, we went back and we checked the sales numbers on that email to show everyone, hey, look, this is how much money email makes. In fact, Wally at HSS told the story of being on that webinar, watching me send that email, seeing all the money it made so quickly and going, holy crap, email is amazing. Email is like, this is real. This can work, right? It was really cool. How powerful would it have been instead if I had just said, hey, I could totally write an email right now and make like $4 grand, right? And that's what email can do for you too. Blah, 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 right? That wouldn't have done anything. No one would have been like amazed by that or into that. Like that's not going to persuade or compel people to take the next step, take the next action, right? That would have been me presenting, not demonstrating, right? That's why we say demonstration, not presentation. What this means for you is when you are talking to prospects, you're talking to clients, the more you just sit there and tell them how great your stuff is or how much you're going to help them, the less interested they're going to be. But if you can show them why they should be interested, if you can show them the example of this or how this is going to work or how the whole thing works or how you're going to solve the problem or even just describing their current problem with a drawing instead of telling them, all of those things are going to persuade them much, much more and make you look much more credible in their eyes. So we want to make sure anytime we're doing anything, we are demonstrating instead of just presenting. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2. Yes. All right. Specifically, a picture is worth how many words? All right, this is one of those cliches that's often correct. All right, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I remember being at a seminar, one of the first marketing seminars I ever went to. I was like 20. It was in Stamford, Connecticut. It was a Ryan Lee event. Ryan Lee's an internet marketer. Maybe 400 people there. And this guy goes on stage and he's like, he didn't have any slides. He was just talking. And he went to his pitch at the end of his talk. And he started telling us, you're going to get this, this, and this, and this. And then I created this thing so it can help you this, this, and this. And then when you do this thing, so you create this, this, and this, and this. And he just got on for like 5, 6, 7 minutes telling us all this stuff that he brought for us, and here's what it's going to do for us, and all this stuff. And by the end of it, I asked my friend Michael, who's sitting next to me, I was like, Michael, do you have any idea what he just said? Michael was like, no, I stopped listening like 6 minutes ago. All right. Because he was just telling, right? How much more powerful would it have been if he had shown pictures of what he's going to teach us or what he's brought for us or what his product is? Better yet, and actually some studies have shown this, that even better than just to show pictures on slides, it's even more powerful to draw it live while it's happening, right? While it's happening. So if I say, listen, what I brought for you here today, it's called the triangle of death. All right, the triangle of death. And the triangle of death is made up of 3 components. All right, life, oxygen, and Kim Kardashian. When you put these 3 things together, death is inevitable. All right, in fact, look how many people die every day. That's proof, right? That's proof. So this is called the death triangle. Now the problem is, where you currently live right now, there is life around you. There's also oxygen around you. You won't be breathing if you're not. And very, very likely somewhere on Instagram or on your TV, Kim Kardashian is there as well. And if nothing changes here, the death triangle is going to wreak havoc on your life. In fact, it's going to kill you. So here is what we recommend instead. We call it the circle of life. Now, all right, and I can just go on and on bullshitting here. All right. The point is, when I'm drawing it for you, like, imagine if there had been none of this drawing that I just made and I talked about this triangle and this oxygen and this Kim Kardashian and this circle of life. Would the impact have been anywhere near the same on you as the viewer or the prospect if I hadn't actually been drawing it? Like, something happens really strange. When you start drawing things, people start going into just pure passive listening mode. And not in a bad way. It's almost like a trance state. Because I'm drawing and you don't know where it's going. So I'm continually creating an open loop and you're continually paying attention to it because you want to see where it's going. And while that loop is open, while you're in that trance, my message is actually getting in. So when I say blah, you hear blah, you don't hear pancakes. All right. So a picture is absolutely worth 1,000 words. Now, I don't want you saying 1,000 words to the prospect. I want you to draw a specific picture for them that's going to get the message across. The third thing, the third principle here is facts tell, stories sell. This is one of those old sayings maybe you've heard before, right? Facts tell, stories sell. Meaning if you're just telling them all these facts in the sales conversation, they're going to go to sleep. All right. In fact, let me know, someone let me know in the chat if you have ever been talking to a prospect on the phone or in person and you could tell they were getting super, super bored when you were going into your thing. Just give me a yes if that has ever happened to you. Yeah. Yes, we will say definitely. Yeah. Does anyone have any like really interesting experiences when this actually happened that they want to share? I'd be very curious to hear like what happened. James says, yes, happened to me a lot lately. Good, man. We're going to fix that. Yeah, if anyone has any really like funny experience about that, let me know in the chat. I'm going to keep going here. But yeah, like most of us have, right? Even I have. This has even happened. And it's almost, I can almost guarantee you, it's when you start telling facts instead of sharing a story. Even when I'm on stage, whether it's my own audience or a cold audience or someone else's stage, if I'm up there and I start going into facts, I can see it every time. People start checking their phones. I can see the reflections. They literally start going on their phone. The minute I start telling a story, phones go down. Everyone starts paying attention again. It's unbelievable. Happens. I can predict it. I can control it. I can like control people's heads so they go like this and they go like this. And they go like this and they go like this. Tell them facts, tell them a story. Tell them facts, sharing a story. Facts, story. It happens over and over and over. So facts tell, stories tell. So we want to be telling a lot of stories. Well, here's the best part about drawing. When you're drawing anything, you're telling a story. The drawing is the story. Right? Andrew was like, dude, that triangle of death, circle of life, he wanted to see where that was going. Dude, I wanted to see where that was going. I didn't even know where that was going. All right? But you're in it. You're like, Like I could even ask right now, who here was really engaged in that triangle of death thing? Like everyone was, because it's a story. The drawing is the story, right? A lot of you have seen me draw. We have different names for it: the 7-figure genius model, the high income model, where I talk about how the 3 keys to making this happen. If anyone wants to hit 7 figures of the business, is you have to be able to attract, sell, and tell. And when you can attract, sell, and tell, what's going to mean is not only going to have 7-figure freedom, you're going to make the income that you want, you're going to have the impact that you want, and you're going to have the freedom in your life to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. Now, when I say attract, I mean you're not going to chase prospect; they're going to come to you. You're not going to, and when I say sell, I don't mean you're like some hard closing sales, high pressure salesy type person. When I mean sell, I mean prospects are going to ask you to sell them what you got, right? And when I say tell, I don't mean just tell people stuff and bore them. I mean tell with such power and influence that people are impacted forever by your words and by that moment. Now, there's 3 ways that we go about doing this. And then I could keep drawing, right? And just like that, you're already engaged into it because the drawing is the story. If that makes sense, before I go further, let me know in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat if that makes sense. Yeah, good. Okay. Perfect. So facts tell, stories sell. We want to be telling a lot of stories, and drawing is the best way to do that. Number 4, principle number 4 here. The number 1 sin in all of selling and marketing is what? Being fucking boring. Being boring is the number 1 sin in all of marketing and sales. In fact, when I asked before for some moments that were really, really bad, Vaughn was like, I went to a gym to close them. We got too deep into the details. They got bored, no close. Exactly. They got bored, no close. You might want to like write those words down on the inside of your brain, left or right or both sides, doesn't matter. They got bored, no close. So we do not want to be boring. Now, the problem is most people, and some people in this group, some of you are really fucking boring. It's okay. Let me just be honest here. And you already know it. Some of you are boring. You're like, I know I'm boring. Jason, I should have taken your dating products when they were available years ago, man. Like, some of you know you're boring. We can fix that, though. All right? And you don't even have to become someone else or change who you are. If I can just teach you to draw, boredom is not an issue anymore. All right? Because the drawing is fucking entertaining. If you guys want proof how powerful this is, give me a yes if you have read either of Russell Brunson's books, either his free books, the .com Secrets, Expert Secrets. I know you guys see ads for ClickFunnels everywhere. Yeah, Vaughn said, I just ordered one and reading one this week. Yeah. So for those that have gone through his books, did you ever notice how he draws everything? For those that have, you'll see Russell Brunson, who don't know him, he is an internet marketer. He owns a software company called ClickFunnels. They do about $100 million a year. Very successful dude. But he also teaches some stuff. Everything he teaches about funnels is always a drawing. And he draws pictures that look like this. They're stick figures, right? It's all a drawing because he also has discovered, dude, drawing is the shit. Drawing equals money. Right? Drawing equals money. So number 1 sin in marketing is being boring. If you're drawing, people are not bored. They're entranced in where this is going. It's crazy. Like if I came to you and let's imagine this was on a slide. And I was like, here's the 7-figure genius model. Let me tell you about it. You got to do this. You got to do this. You would be fucking bored. But if there is no slide, and I'm drawing it for you live, and I'm like, all right, so check this out. There's 3 things that we need to be able to do. We need to attract, sell, tell. That's how we get you first class freedom. You're already more engaged because you see it happening live. It's the creating of it that's happening in that moment that's really, really engaging people with this drawing. So number 1 sin in marketing, being boring. We're not going to be boring because we're going to draw. And that leads me to our 5th and final principle here. Okay? Draw everything. I mean that. I'm going to show you how to do this. Draw everything. Everything, everything, everything. I have Let's say that, like, let me ask you this. We're gonna take some user generated content here. We're gonna turn it into a drawing live. Let me ask you this. What do you think are the three most important influence triggers that there are? The three most important triggers to influence people. What do you think that they are? You're selling, you're closing, you're influencing. Obviously, social proof is going to be one. I think everyone's going to say social proof. What do you think? Give me all three, and when you type it in. Okay. So I see a lot of social proof. I see a lot of authority. And perfect. Nick said scarcity. We're going to go with those three. All right. Somebody's saying FOMO. FOMO similar to scarcity, urgency, missing out, loss aversion, that kind of thing. So we have social proof, authority, and scarcity, right? Now, if I were to tell you, like, yeah, listen, social proof, authority, scarcity, the three most important triggers, here's why, all right? People don't want to feel stupid, and people are also really uncertain. So knowing that they don't want to make a bad decision that would make them look stupid, and they usually can't really decide for themselves, they look to see what other people are doing. Because if they do what everyone else is doing, then they can't be the only stupid one, right? If they do what everyone else did and it turns out the wrong decision, that's okay because then they don't look stupid. The group looks stupid, so it's safe for them. And most people are uncertain, so they look to what other people are doing and they're like, you know what, that person seems smart. They seem to know what they're doing. I'll just do what that person's doing, and that's social proof. That's what social proof is. That's why it works so well. That's kind of boring. And in fact, you may have fallen asleep, or you may just not remember what I said, which is equally bad. But what if instead I told you we created this? What if I said this? So in the 11 years that I've been doing this, I've worked with over 1 million people in 100 countries. And what we've discovered is influence. You know, Robert Cialdini says that there's 6 weapons of influence, and other people sometimes say there's 12 and 15 and like they influence people. I've been doing this 11 years. I've generated over $40 million online. I've discovered there's only 3 keys. It's easy to know. It's so, the final one is scarcity. Which one was more engaging? If you thought the first time was more engaging, give me a 1. If you thought the second time was like way better, type 2 into the chat. Yes. Unanimously, it's going to be number 2 because drawing is the shit. I really should rename this. You know, I'm going to rename this talk. This is called drawing is the shit, not verbals to visuals. That's fuck that. Drawing is the shit. We're going to draw everything. So here's what I mean by everything, right? What I just demonstrated for you was content. So if you are a content creator or you are putting out content, you need to draw it all. Don't speak it, draw it, right? If you are closing, draw your close. Actually, draw, like walk the prospect through a drawing as you close them. So content, closing. Cool. Content, closing. Fucking discussions you can draw. And by the way, like you can use this stuff for everywhere in your life. Like if you have a relationship with someone and you guys are like, let's say it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, like there's no reason you guys can't be like find a shape, find a geometric shape that fits what you want and be like, here is my goals, here's your goals, right? And then here's our goals in the center. Here's where they come together. Here's why the value-based it work. Like you can turn everything into a drawing, and I'm telling you, both parties will be better for it because it takes all the emotion. The drawing takes all the reactionary emotions out of it, and everyone remembers it better. And you're able to create a frame for. You're able to frame the discussion. We're gonna talk about that in a second. What drawing does. So content through closing discussions, draw everything. Pitches, everything should involve a drawing, at least one, if not more. Okay, so here's what I want to know before we get to the next step. What so far, which of these 5 principles and the examples went with them has been most insightful for you and why? What's been most insightful for you and why? Really said, draw pics, kids. Cool. Vaughn said 3 and 5 for sure. Good. Nick said drawing because people hear pancakes if you're just talking blah. Totally. Nicholas also said demonstration, not presentation. People can visualize easier than listening to just you talk. Yeah, because here's the thing. When they're listening to you talk, they're not writing your words in their brain on a chalkboard. They're trying to put pictures to the words that you're saying. And if you're not drawing, you're just talking, you cannot control their pictures. But if we're both drawing it, you control the pictures in their brain. And if you control the pictures in their brain, guess what? You fucking control them. All right? Stanley said, draw everything. Rochelle said, I can draw money out of their bank account. I like that. Yeah, facts tell, stories sell. Rhonda, I have lots of cool stories, but don't use them. Yeah, Rhonda, you're going to want to create what we call a story bank, where it's like a running Google Doc of your best stories. So you basically draw a 1-sentence note. Here's that story, just as a reminder. And then next to it, in all caps, put the purpose of the story. Is it a selling story? Is it a closing story? Is it a teaching story? If it's a teaching story, what principle of yours does it teach? And then you just pull from those, and you can just keep using these over and over. Fabio said, see, that's when you know it's good, when people are like, how do you doing this on Zoom? How do you draw on Zoom? Fabio said, are you drawing these on iPad? I will show you guys how I'm drawing this after, so you can do the same, especially if you guys close, if you close on Zoom or you have client calls on Zoom. Alan said, I explained the triangle influence to a friend yesterday. Closing his boss will be easy as hell with drawing. Yes. Devin said, I got an idea. I should send a video of me whiteboard drawing through a private YouTube link to close via cold email. What do you guys think? Dude, 100%. And in fact, I have some people now who they're doing the, do you guys do birthdays? And the guy says, yes. And you go, great. Because I'm working with one person over there. I'm looking to work with one over here. Could you handle 50 extra blah, blah, blahs this week? And when they say yes, the response is great. So here's what I'm thinking. Here's how it would work. In fact, I just created this video for you. Please watch it real quick. It'll show you in less than 2 minutes exactly how this is going to work. And then you send them to a video with the whole whiteboard drawing showing them how it's going to work. And even better, when you send them the video drawing, you attach a case study to the email as well. Right? Person said, demonstration, not presentation. When I'm demonstrating, it keeps them more present, and in tune just keeps them more. Yes, 100%. All right, Alina Karan said 4 because I hate sounding programmed. I love free-flowing conversations. Me too. All right, free-flowing conversations is my favorite thing in the world. Fabio said, would it be the same to draw on a whiteboard if I'm online? Yes, I am drawing on my iPad right now. Oops. And I will show you guys. This is what it looks like on my iPad. I will show you guys the app and how I'm doing this. Okay, good, Ron. You already got it. You just don't use it. Use it, all right? Yep, Nick, I'll show you my setup at the end. Draw everything like it's your job. Yup, legit. All right, cool. So how do you do this? Right, like how do you, we could probably stop right here and everyone understand, like, I'm gonna start drawing a lot of shit. And maybe some of you guys already have ideas of how you're gonna draw, which is great. I wanna give you a framework right now for how to draw your part of your pitch, the big part of your pitch, whether it's the, you guys remember, of course, right, everyone here should have already studied, like, I'll just reiterate, everyone here should study and continually be studying the prescription close. Like, you should know that like the back of your fucking hand. You should be able to, I should be able to wake you up in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., go, yo, wake up, close this person. And you should be able to do the entire prescription close like that. If you're not there yet, keep practicing, keep learning it, because I'm telling you, once you get good at a prescription close, you can make money anytime, anywhere, and you will be a huge fucking success story. A big part of the prescription close, as you know, is we go problem, description or problem promises, right? Outcome, right? Outcome, model, logistics, price, right? And it's right here when I say model that in the demonstration I give you guys, I show you guys the model that we use. And sometimes I put it into a Venn diagram. Other times I use a triangle where it's like thing one, thing two, thing three, or, thing one, thing two, thing three, and that's all fine. But it's in that section in model or in outcome where a drawing can really come in handy. The other place where it can come in super handy in your close, what do you think? Is right fucking there when you're talking about the problem. All right. And that's what I want to show you here. So I want you to follow along with what I'm drawing here. Notice I'm going to teach this to you in a drawing as well, because I eat my own cooking. One more. Okay. I know that looks crazy. It's going to be okay, I promise. Okay. So the first thing we do when we are creating a frame, creating a context, when you are describing and drawing the problem for the prospect. And remember this wasn't a principle, remember this, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you can describe their problem better than they can themselves, they automatically assume you have the solution. The problem is when you've tried to describe their problem themselves, you've been saying blah and they've been hearing pancakes. So even though you're describing their problem correctly, their message isn't getting through. When you draw their problem better than they can understand it, better than they can describe it themselves, now they automatically assume you have the solution and they actually gets through because the drawing becomes the picture in their brain. So they feel like, wow, this person really understands my problem. In fact, they described it better than even I can myself. So the first thing we do, and whenever we're doing a drawing of any sort, is we're going to pace. And what does pacing mean? All it means is you describe the current reality of the situation. That's all that it means. So for instance, if I was selling EIE to a restaurant owner, then I would say something like, so right now in your business, you guys get about 80 tickets a day. You get about 80 groups of people that come in here every single day, earning you about $2,200 in revenue. And currently with those 80 people coming in a day, you're not collecting any of their emails. And so you're not doing any email marketing right now. That's just me like describing the current situation. It's just pacing. That's all that it means. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up the problem. All right, we're going to bring up the problem. Meaning, so right now you're not collecting any of your customers' emails. That is the problem. You don't need to get super fancy with the problem. It's just like diagnose the problem. The problem is you can go to a doctor. Their diagnosis isn't usually crazy. Diagnosis is this is what you got. You got a cold, right? You got an ugly face. You got a bad haircut. Whatever it is, right? That's the problem. You're not collecting emails right now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about impact and cost of the problem. This is how we close. This is how we sell. So right now, you're not collecting any emails in your restaurant. That's the problem. What is the impact and the cost of them not collecting emails? Let me know in the chat, right? So you're not collecting emails. What are the three biggest, when I say impact, it's like, what is the impact of this problem? Meaning, if you're not collecting emails, what impact does that have on the business? What is the cost to the business? Yep, loss of income, losing repeat customers. Yeah, money left on the table. So yeah, so how about this? No emails means that's a low repeat business. Yeah, you're leaving a lot of money on the table and you're letting your competitors sneak in and rob you of your customer base, right? Because they might be doing email, they're doing marketing, and you're not, right? And there's a lot more impacts, a lot more costs. We're just like, that's three, right? So the problem is you're not collecting emails right now, which is causing you to lose a lot of repeat business that you would otherwise be getting every single night You're letting your competitors sneak in and rob your customers because they're putting them on an email program. Their email marketing is not very good, but just the simple fact that they're collecting emails and remarketing to them means that they are getting a clear, distinct advantage over you, and you're leaving a lot of money on the table because it's free to send emails. So we go problem, we go pacing, problem, impact or cost, right? And the other way you can frame that, of course, is because you're not collecting email, it's costing you, and you can even go into more detail. For instance, you could say, and imagine like right now, actually that's the next one. All right, so that's the impact, that's the cost, right? The next thing we're gonna talk about is the model, right? And you can put in parentheses the solution. Okay, now when I say model, I mean specifically like the drawing, right? A lot of times it is a triangle, sometimes it's a circle, other times it's a square, and sometimes you're just drawing as you go, right? So in this case, we might end up drawing as we go. Like we're gonna create this model right here. So it's costing you, you're getting a way less repeat business than you could be getting for free. You're letting your competitors sneak in and steal your customers from you by putting them on their email list and marketing to them. And you're leaving a lot of money on the table knowingly because it's free to send emails and it guarantees you more customers and more repeat business, and you're not doing it, right? Now the solution is, let's pick a triangle and we'll call it, you want to name your models, by the way. The solution is, I'm just making up a name right now. The email restaurant accelerator. The email restaurant accelerator. And here's how it works. The first thing that the email restaurant accelerator does is you have to capture the customers that are already coming in. Because right now you have customers coming in, you're not capturing their emails. They're walking out into your competitor's arms. But if you just capture them their email address, the next time they're thinking about getting sushi, they would think about your restaurant instead of your competitor, right? So the first thing we always do is we capture. The second thing we always do at that point is we build value, right? We build a lot of value with the end prospect, with the customer, using targeted, high quality, educational, intriguing, engaging emails that they love to read. They often share with their friends, they pass around, and it keeps your restaurant top of mind for them. And the last thing that we do is with the accelerator is we accelerate action, meaning that we're going to drive them to come to the restaurant more than they already are. So for instance, right now, if they come to your restaurant 4 times a year, using the email restaurant accelerator, you can conservatively expect them to come twice as much. So everyone who comes to your restaurant now 4 times a year will start coming 8 times a year. And again, it's all really, really simple, but you just need someone to implement this entire thing for you, right? So you show them the solution. Does that make sense to everybody so far? Before I go further, are there any questions? I want to make sure that's entirely clear. If that makes sense, you're with me, give me a yes in the chat. All right, everyone is getting it perfect. All right. And then here's where we just, like, by the way, just so you know, once you do this, they're mostly sold already. All right. We talked recently about like man with the plan, woman with the plan, right? If you have a system that you can draw to show someone how it works, they shit themselves. You are the man with the plan, guaranteed. Because most people they meet don't have a fucking system, and you're like all confident and you're all certain, and you're like, oh no, here's how it works. Right? There's only 3 things that we need to do. Right? Like you got an email list, you're not monetizing. There's only 3 things we need to do right now, right? It's a 3 email sequence that we're going to send. And when we do this, what we're going to find is right now you're making $8K a month on your email list. Great. When we do this, you can expect to make $30K a month on your email list. It's just about monetizing the things that you already have, because the thing is people wouldn't be on your email list if they had all their problems solved. Like they still have problems, and people still have problems. They're still wanting to pay for your solutions. You're just not talking to them about their right problems. So we use 3 email sequence to do this. So email 1 is where we re-indoctrinate them into you as an expert, and also that they still got a problem they need fixing. And then email 2 is where we tell what we call a hero story that really connects them to you, makes them identify with you, and makes them want what you got. Plus, we also throw in a tease there, so that we tease the product, we tease the solution, but we don't tell them what it is. And then in email 3 is the launch stage, when we launch that product that they haven't seen before. And now, at this point, they're indoctrinated, they're really connected with you, they know, like, and trust you, they're waiting for what you got, and we make them wait a little bit, and then we launch the thing. And it's on this launch email is when you're going to see a lot of the money come in. With these other two, with this first one, this is where you end up building a lot of rapport with them, so they know, like, and trust you. And Indoc is where they go, yup, you are someone I want to listen to. It's where you check their box and they check your box together. And when we do all this, 8 to 30 is what I conservatively expect for you. Now, I'm not a psychic. I'm not an expert. I don't want to predict the future for you. But based on my experience with this client and this client and this client, blah, 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 that's what we typically see. Does that make sense? Yes. You come with everything we talked about so far? Yes, great. So where do you think we should go from here? Okay? Same thing. Like, I'm just drawing shit. I'm making this shit up as I go. All right? The point is, in the last minute or so, as I'm drawing this shit and telling the story, I seem like man with the plan. I am certain. I am confident. I am fucking drawing. That's like the key to life. Be certain, be confident, and draw shit. You're going to be good. You can do that. All right? Just write that down. I wish Zach Zeller's on this. I'd be like, Zach, write that down. That's good. Okay? So we go pacing, and then we go problem, impact, cost, and then we go model and solution. Next step is when we go social proof. All right, social proof. So we drew them this model of the email restaurant accelerator, right? Capture, value, action. Cool. And we show them this is how it works, right? We're going to capture, we're going to drive value, we're going to capture, here's why. We need to create value, here's why. And then we need to drive action, here's why. And when we do this, that's the language. You go, and when we do this, here's what you can expect. And then you tell one good story about a client of yours that already got a result that this prospect wants. So if it's a sushi restaurant, tell them the story about another restaurant that you worked with who got a good result. Now, what if you're new? What if you don't have any success stories yet? What if you're like, Jason, if I had some fucking success stories right now, I'd have more clients, right? I even have more clients than I already do. But I don't have any fucking success stories. What am I supposed to do here? Very, very simple. All you need to do if you don't have your own success story is just talk about someone else's success story. You don't have to claim it was yours. But you can very easily say that they captured, they created value, and they drove action, which is going to be entirely true because no one succeeded in email without doing these three things anyways. This is something that Tony Robbins does all the time. I think it's genius. So Tony Robbins has this thing. I'm not going to get too off track here, right? But he has this thing that he says that there's like 6 human needs is what he says. And it's like, if I remember correctly, at the top, it's contribution and growth, and then it's significance and connection or love, and then it's also, there's like 6 of them, right? I don't remember what they all are off the top of my head right now. But he goes, there's 6 human needs, right? And he goes, look at Robin Williams, for example. All right, Robin Williams was a guy who had all of this significance in his life. He had a lot of love with his children in his life, all right? But he didn't feel like he was contributing. He felt like he made people laugh, but because it was all in movies, he didn't get to see their reactions. He was contributing, he just didn't know it. And he wasn't growing. This guy conquered movies. He conquered television. He was a world star. He didn't have another goal for him that he could see in the future that was like a light at the end of the tunnel, like, oh, this is the next thing. So he didn't feel like he was contributing. He didn't feel like he was growing. And so what does he do? He hung himself. And the world lost someone amazing that day. Right? That's why we need blah, 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 the 6 human needs. Now, Tony Robbins and Robin Williams never had any work together. They never did anything together. But by telling the story of Robin Williams and putting him in your model, it makes it seem like it's your social proof. It's fucked up. Watch Tony. He does it with everything. I think it's a brilliant marketing technique. Okay. So you can say the email restaurant accelerator, blah, 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 Zoom. And then you say, and when we implement this, in fact, there's a restaurant in Louisiana that implemented the email restaurant accelerator. And with them, we saw they were here and then they got this result, right? And then there's other restaurant in Connecticut using the restaurant accelerator. They started here and then they got this result before and after. And where do you find these other success stories? Dude, use each other in this group, right? One option is use each other in this group and you just share success stories with each other, with your clients, so you know that they work. I remember, I don't know if he's here today. And dude, your name is just escaping my freaking brain right now. Connor. Yes, Connor. I think Connor might be here. Connor's in Toronto. Connor's working with a chiropractor. And in like the first month, he added an extra $2,500 a month with his emails to this chiropractor's business. That's an extra $30,000 a year, right? So the email restaurant accelerator, it actually has been used in so many different industries. In fact, there's one chiropractor in Toronto who the very first month he implemented the email restaurant accelerator, he added an extra $2,500 a month profit to his entire business, an extra $30,000 a year profit to his, like, what would an extra $30,000 a year profit without you doing any extra work? What would that do for you? What would that allow you to do that you can't do right now? What difference would that make in your life? See, that's why the email restaurant accelerator is so powerful and frankly so important that we get it driving sales and profit in your business as soon as humanly possible. Does that make sense? So we use someone else's as social proof if we need to. And then as you gather your own social proof case studies, you can use your own. If that makes sense, if you get that, give me a yes in the chat. I want to make sure that's abundantly clear. Paul said, mind blown, everyone. I like blowing minds. That's good. All right, everyone's hyped. Good. All right, so we only got two things left here, and this is simple. All right. After social proof, so we say, does that make sense? Yes, great. And then you go, and here's the best part. We call this the punchline. You guys know in comedy, someone's got a joke set up, the punchline. I saw my buddy AJ Mirzad. He's doing comedy now. He spoke at HSS, but he's doing comedy on the side now. And I saw a clip on his Instagram. His joke was like, he's like, any parents out there? Great. He goes, parents, you really need to talk to your kids about drugs because I'm pretty sure they can get you a better deal. Okay? That was his joke. That was his punchline. It's not bad. I thought it was funny. Right? That's a punchline. So we go, blah, 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 social proof, and here's the best part. And what do you say for your punchline? Whatever you think the best part is, save it for last. Meaning don't tell them about this thing before. Try not to. If you do, it's going to be okay. In this case, one of them I like to say is, and here's the best part or the worst part, depending on how you look at it. And that's when I like to draw the whole thing. Like this is where I like to draw all of the money that they could have been making and they've been missing out on. Right? So you told me right now at your restaurant, right? This is your restaurant. You're getting 80 people, 80 groups a day coming in, and your average ticket price is $60, right? Which is $4,800 a day that you're doing right now, right? That's great, okay? Here's the thing, though. Of those 80 people, with our email capture system that I'm going to implement in your business for you, you're going to be gathering half of those people onto an email list every day. So of those 80 people every day, you're going to get 40 added to your email list. Every single week, 7 days, that's 280 people. Over a month, that is 1,120. Over the course of 1 year, you have added over 12,000 people to your email list. Now, that client I told you about in Toronto, every single person on his email list is worth $40 a year. All right, $40 a year. And that's pretty standard in the brick and mortar business. So 12,000 times $40 a year. If you have 12,000 people on your list and each one's worth $40, that's an extra $480,000 a year that you can make in less than 1 year if you let me implement this system for you, which I really, really like, I insist you let me do this, all right? Because I want to help you in this. And frankly, I don't like that restaurant over there. I've been eating at your restaurant for a long time. I like your restaurant, all right? So that's the best part. Here's the worst part. If you had done this with me 1 year ago from today on February 18th, 2018, if you had signed up with me, you would have made an extra 480 grand this past year. But instead, because you didn't, that's a loss of $480,000. Now, do you want to lose another 480 grand this year? Because I don't. Blah, 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 blah. If that's super powerful, give me a yes in the chat, and I want to show you how I did that real quick because I want everyone here doing this. Okay, everyone said yes, yes, yes. So Alan said this is the part where they seem to snapshot at me. Two things you need to do there. One, understand anytime they don't believe you, like just remember this. Every time they're not buying for you, like we always CUB everything. CUB stands for confusing, unbelievable, boring. If your shit is confusing, they're not buying. That's why we draw, because it keeps it real simple. If it's boring, they're not buying. That's why we draw, because it makes it really entertaining. If it's unbelievable, meaning they're skeptical, it doesn't sound true, we beat that with proof. Drawing is actually a form of proof because when you're drawing, you seem certain and they're buying you and they want to buy a certain person there with the plan. But the other way we do it is proof, like documentation, meaning if I'm going to make a claim like $40 a year, I need to have some piece of paper printed out that I can slap on the table that proves that. Like it may be as simple as an email from someone else saying, Jason, since adding this thing to our email list, we're making an extra $40 a year per subscriber on the email list. And I'll say, so right now, to him, the average subscriber is worth $40 a year. Here's the email. You can check it out. They don't even need to read the piece of paper. They won't even read the piece of paper in the email. They just want to see that it's there. Because if you're just talking blah, blah, blah bullshit, but a piece of paper, you can't argue with documentation. You can't argue with numbers. It's printed on a piece of paper. It's legit. So that's the deal. The other thing you can do, Alan, is if they're skeptical and it seems too good to be true, say that before they can themselves. I cannot tell you. Say the objection out loud before they can themselves. Meaning, if you know the point, this is where they go, that sounds too good to be true. Say, now listen, what I'm about to show you, I am well aware this sounds completely too good to be true, but I promise you it's real. So is it cool? Can I walk you through it without you being like, there's no way this is true because I know it sounds too good to be true? Yes? Okay, cool. Da-da-da-da-da. That helps a lot too. Okay. So all I did here, right, for this punchline part is go, and you go, here's the best part or the worst part, depending how you look at it. And then you show them the numbers. You draw them the numbers, right? And every business has numbers like this. I don't care what it is. And if you're in a business like you're selling relationships, you're selling love, or you're selling confidence or something that is not as quantifiable, you get them to put a dollar amount on that thing, and then you use that as a number. Meaning, so right now you wake up alone every single morning, and you think about your ideal partner and what they would look like, and what they would sound like, and what your relationship would be, and what your life would be like with them. Now, if you could wake up tomorrow and I could snap my fingers and that ideal partner woke up with you tomorrow and they spoke to you the way you wanted and they built the life with you the way that you imagined for yourself, etc., what would that be worth to you? Would you say that would be worth $50,000? Would that be worth $100,000? Let's say $50,000. All right. And then you go from there. And you show them how not having this person is costing them way more than $50,000. Okay. Always get them to put a dollar amount on it so then we can draw the math. So all I did was I drew the math of here's how the metrics work. Here's how much money you could be making. And then you turn it on them. All right. Meaning here's how much you could be making. And this is what no one does. And I learned this from Agora, who does $1.5 billion a year. They do this with every piece of social proof, every punchline is they tune it back in. This is what we call tune it back into WIIFM radio. What's in it for me radio? All right. The prospect, they always want to know what's in it for them. So we tune it back in. This chiropractor in Toronto making $40, that's cool. Very, very cool. Really happy for you. What the fuck does that have to do with me? That's what they're thinking. So whatever you're talking about someone else, that's great. You always turn it back into them. And you say, now, if there's a language pattern, all right, remember this one. This is how you turn it back into WIIFM. You go, now, if it had been you that had signed up with me 12 months ago, you'd have made an extra $480,000 this year. But unfortunately, because we weren't friends, we didn't know each other back then, that didn't happen. And this year, there was a loss, a cost of 480 grand that would have been yours. Do you want to spend another year and lose another 480 grand this year? No, you don't. That's how you turn it. Now, you will not get away with this if you do not have some type of documentation, like anything. I mean, like any piece of paper, all right? Anything. Okay, a piece of paper printed out with the success story or with the numbers that you're saying. Just a piece of paper that shows what you're saying to be true is actually true. And people, for whatever reason, if it's printed, they believe it a lot more than if someone says it. Probably because the average person lies 2 to 3 times every 10 minutes. They probably learned that a lot of people say is fucking bullshit, which it is. But if it's printed on a piece of paper, it must be true. So you need documentation. And that's as simple as just literally printing out a success story on a piece of paper and bringing it with you. If you got more of them, get a whole book of case studies. That's even better. Okay? So we go punchline. All right, and then the final thing we do here is we 3QL, 3-question loop. And if you've studied the prescription close, you know exactly what I mean when I say that. This is these 3 questions that we ask. So you give them the punchline, which is the 3 questions are. So you give them the punchline. If you would have made this much last year. Unfortunately, if it had been you would have made 480 grand. Unfortunately, we didn't know each other then, and it didn't happen. And that's a loss of 480 grand that would have been yours. Would you like to go another year and lose another 480 grand? No. Yeah, me neither. Like, I don't want that at all. So, does that make sense? Are you comfortable with everything we've discussed here so far? Yeah, great. Where do you think we should go from here? Put the ball in their court. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, well, how do I get started? Or what's the next step? Or how do we do this? How do we go about this thing? All right. If when you ask this question, where do you think we should go from here? And you're not getting, I'm going to say at least 4 out of 5 of them saying, well, what's the next step? Or how do we get started? Or what do you think I should do? Anything like that, they don't believe you. I mean, somewhere earlier in your presentation, they don't believe you. Either you don't have enough proof or you don't have enough credibility in their eyes. It's one of those two. All you need to do then is go back earlier in your flow, whether it's in the opening, the second, third, fourth email, whether it's in what you're wearing, your status, your tonality, whether it's in just bringing proof, bring a book of case studies. I promise you that's the solution. That's all you need to fix. And once you fix that earlier upstream, when you move downstream to this question, where do you think we should go from here? You're going to start hearing a lot more often, well, what do you think I should do? Or what do you think the next step is? Or what do you recommend? Or how do we get started? You're going to start hearing those questions all the time. Okay? So that is how you do it. All right? This is how we draw to sell. All right? Because drawing is the shit. So here's what I know now. One, I know I don't need to ask this, it's helpful, but how is this going to change what you're already doing to get clients? So I'm trying to say, could it be that they don't believe in themselves? Yeah, that can certainly be a part of it, especially if you're selling coaching. That's like 80% of the battle. Yes. Okay, Vaughn said I'm switching all my phone calls and video calls. Yes, good. So I can draw. Brian said YouTube video with whiteboard and email sequence. Everyone's going to start drawing. Everyone's going to start fucking drawing. Less talking, more showing, more demonstrations. Good, good, good. Everyone needs to go. I need to do Zoom so I can draw. Yeah, Rochelle said more preparation and confidence making a video I can send out in Kaizen. Yes. Yeah, and guys, like, start drawing everything. Just to practice, at least for now, start drawing fucking everything. Every idea, every story you're trying to tell, everything, just start drawing fucking everything. Yeah, draw all the time. All right, so we're gonna wrap up here. I'm gonna take a minute. I'm just gonna tell you guys exactly how to do this, how to actually draw on Zoom. It's so fucking simple. All right, so all you need is you need a Zoom account. You need I don't even know, what do you guys call this thing? It connects your iPad to your laptop. This is how much I know about tech. What do you call it? A USB cord. Yeah, it's a USB cord plus I don't know. Because you know the new MacBooks have they don't have a USB plug-in, they have a different plug-in. I'm just gonna say a USB cord to connect your iPad to your MacBook. Your iPad to whatever it is that you're drawing on. It's a USB-C. Okay. So Zoom, a USB cord. You need a pen of some sort. I use an Apple pen, but I think there's other pens out there that you can use, which is fine. This is what I draw with. And then the app is called the Paper app. You can get the free version. That's totally fine. You don't need to upgrade yet. And then all you do is you go on Zoom. All you do is go on Zoom, and then you go to the button at the bottom. It says Share Screen. And then you'll see an option. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this for you guys. So you hit Share Screen. And it looks like that. So you hit Share Screen, and these options will come up, the ones that you see here. All you're going to do is click that one right here that says iPhone/iPad via cable, and you hit Share Screen, and it'll just pull up your iPad screen. So then I can just draw in that Paper app all I want, and it shows on the Zoom screen the whole time for everybody else what's going on in the screen of my iPad. That is the whole process. Like, you cannot get simpler than that, okay? All right, cool. Everyone's got it. Everyone understands. Perfect. Brian said us non-Mac people are gonna have to bootleg some shit. Yeah, so here's the other option you can use for online. This is just one that I know. It's called, there's an online whiteboard. It's not as good, but you can certainly use it. I've taught classes with it and it works out just fine. It is that. So you can go on Zoom and then you can just share your desktop with that as your browser, and you can draw and type shit on that whiteboard right there, and that can work. That's kind of like the low budget version if you need to. And Ryan said, would paper and pencil work? 100%. You do not need an iPad. If it's in person, you could literally just have yellow legal pad or a journal and just draw with a pen, and that'll work just fine, just as well. All right, Vaughn said real-time board works well too. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's legit. So you can make it work like that as well. Andrew said, does a prospect have to have a Zoom account in order to get on the call with you, though? I think so. But you can just send them a Zoom link. Like, it's real easy to send on Zoom. Most people have Zoom access now. That's not, like, super rare. It's really easy to set up, yeah. And again, any objection that comes up, just figure out a way to overcome it. So if you're like, well, I don't know if they're on Zoom, create a fucking 90-second screen recording video of them that's really friendly and makes you sound really confident. That's like, hey, here's how to set up a Zoom account real quick. I'm going to show you in 4 steps. Boom, 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 boom. So now they're in a frame of like, I'm already learning from this person. This person understands tech a lot, and they already helped me with this one thing. I know it's not related, but at an unconscious level, the prospect goes, you know, they created some video that taught me how to set up a Zoom screen. They could probably help set up my email shit and do my email stuff for me too. Like, it doesn't make sense, but it's not supposed to. All right. Yeah, and Rhonda said, I modeled what you did last year, the drawing using a Venn diagram. I did it through the phone. I told her what to draw, walked her through it. She bought. Perfect. Right? Yeah, and that's so good. When you get on the phone with them, even if they can't see, just tell them what to draw. Like, that's what I used to do on the phone with people is I'd say, pull out a piece of paper and draw this and draw this and draw this. It works because now they're drawing, they're super engaged, they're involved in the process. They don't feel like they're being sold to. They feel like they're part of a conversation together. And there's the whole compliance factor of I say you do. So I say draw, you draw. I say draw this, you draw this. I say type this, you type this. And then when I say buy here, you buy here. Make sense? Okay. Everyone, that is going to wrap up an amazing fucking day here in the Kaizen Mastermind. Life's good in Kaizen when we Kaizen everything in our fucking lives. Everyone, thank you guys for sharing your energy with me and being here today. This was super kick-ass, and I will see all of you next week. And I'll see a lot of you in Miami in just a few weeks as well for Email Income Experts on the beach, which is going to be fun. And then, of course, I should be seeing everyone in Bora Bora in less than 3 months, which is going to be amazing. Any questions, let me know in the Facebook group. Also, I recommended that you guys share case studies with each other. Facebook group, great place to do that right now as well. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.